Now on Denver 7 News at 7 a.m. on Local 3, more sanctions could be coming for Russia as troops move into Ukrainian territory. And we'll be feeling the impact here at home with higher gas prices, how the administration is working to keep prices from surging too high.
Neighbors are now raising safety questions after a Westminster home exploded. What we've learned about the condemned property.
And temperatures plunge to below zero around the metro again. It's another Denver 7 weather action day.
Yeah, so far the big metro school districts are having class as scheduled, so be sure to bundle up the kids. We have learned the Platte Canyon School District near Bailey is closed today. The Bennett School District on the Plains is on a delayed start. Good morning to you, though. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Yeah, so Lisa says her girls want a drive to the bus stop this morning. I will be getting to my kids' school like an hour early so I can pick them up in the car loop today and not have to go outside.
It's funny to watch people shuffle from building to car. I mean, it's a fast walk, isn't it? Yeah, if not a run. A little icy out there, so be careful. A new record low set this morning. We hit 7 below out at the airport, blowing the old record out of the water. It was 4 below, so it was cold, and it's, well, not much warmer right now. We're at about 0 to 5 below in and around Denver, and our temps are going to be a good 30 degrees below normal today. We'll hit highs this afternoon, likely right around 10 to about 15 degrees between noon and 3 o'clock. That is obviously still well below normal, typically some mid-40s this time of year. Boulder, 11 for a high today. Highlands Ranch in Denver, you're going to be at about 15, and in Bennett, right around 17. Warmer again in the mountains, more 20s out west, 20s and even 30s out west. The wind chills this morning have been anywhere from about 20 to 40 degrees below zero, so we still have some advisories in place, and a little more light snow that's been crossing in over the I-25 corridor this morning north of Denver. So we'll get another little light dusting in spots right now, and then more to come tonight. We'll talk more about how much we're expecting in just a few minutes.
And that means we're going to keep these slick roadways in play for another 24 hours, because right now we have some very slick roadways, and we have a crash down here in Castle Rock on the northbound side right after Castle Rock Parkway. Take a look from the camera down there and you see all that heavy traffic. So Castle Rock Parkway exit right here that goes over by the Sam's and Whole Foods. That's the northbound side here going up to Happy Canyon. So there's where that crash is, and you can see some delays, unfortunately. Take a look at the camera at I-70. We've had several problems. This is the westbound side. The eastbound side right over here, you can still see that real heavy stop and go traffic. Look at the drive times out there on I-70 right now, which are looking at 30 minutes on the westbound side, 40 minutes on the eastbound side. New crash called out right by Quebec over there is causing still some huge delays. Big delays up to the north side of town, 225, Denver Tech Center, C470. It's all going to be slower than average, obviously, as you make your way around town.
Also, with this morning's freezing temperatures, your car might be slow to start, or it might not start at all. AAA is expecting a lot of calls this week for dead batteries.
That's because at 0 degrees, it's just physics. Your car's battery has about half the cranking power that it normally has. For relatively new batteries, for batteries that are well kept, that won't be an issue. Most cars will start, but for batteries that are more than 3 to 5 years old, there are going to be a lot of cars that just won't start in the morning.
We have several more days of cold to go, too, so most auto parts places will do a battery test for free.
And you can check conditions in your neighborhood anytime. Just download the free Denver 7 Plus app for your phone or streaming device. We have a 24/7 weather stream, radar, and hour-by-hour forecast.
We are taking a live look from Kyiv, Ukraine this morning. The Eastern European country is still on edge, and new video shows a larger Russian attack is on the horizon.
Back here at home, oil prices are down just slightly after yesterday's surge when the Kremlin authorized military action. But many analysts are warning we will see higher prices at the pump soon. And we have team coverage. We'll get to Veronica with gas prices in a moment. We start with details on what could soon be the front lines of war. Here's Faith Abube.
This morning, the international backlash against Russia intensifying as new video shows military vehicles in Russian-controlled separatist regions of eastern Ukraine. The Ukraine government says Russia-backed rebels are firing into government-held areas, appearing to be stoking a military action and a pretext for Russia to use for war. New images from private satellite company Maxar shows a buildup of Russian military supplies near Ukraine's border. The U.S. believes the Kremlin is also stocking up on blood supplies.
You don't need blood unless you plan on starting a war.
800 additional U.S. troops, along with fighter jets and helicopters, are being repositioned to support NATO allies in the region. President Biden condemning what he says is the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. In response, the U.S. is imposing punishing sanctions on Russian banks, business elites, and their families. The Kremlin is also blocked from trading on American and European markets.
No Russian financial institution is safe if the invasion proceeds.
Germany went ahead and froze this crucial natural gas pipeline known as Nord Stream 2, which runs from western Siberia into Germany. That will also have a big impact on Russia.
The move comes after President Vladimir Putin declared 2 Russian-backed separatist regions in eastern Ukraine as independent and then deployed his military in the so-called Donbass region, where rebel forces control about 1/3 of the land. Analysts say Putin may also try to claim more of the region.
His plan all along has been to invade Ukraine.
President Biden threatening more sanctions if Russia doesn't back down.
Who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries on territory that belong to his neighbors?
And President Biden also warns that sanctions against Russia to, quote, defend freedom will cost Americans here some pain at the gas pump. Gas prices have already jumped more than 20% in the last month. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Yeah, President Biden, of course, warning we're going to see gas prices go up, as we already have been seeing them inching upward, even more now with the invasion and political fallout.
Yeah, we heard $7 a gallon thrown out at one point, which would be ridiculous. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is here with what the administration is doing to keep those prices down.
Well, whether we like it or not, we're going to likely see more gas prices go up, rather, at the pump for our cars, our trucks. Here's where we stand right now. The cheapest gas you can find near the Denver area, it's just under $3. Take a look, $2.99. That's according to Gas Buddy. But AAA says on average, Coloradans are paying $3.35 per gallon. That's slightly up from just a month ago. Yesterday, President Joe Biden said his administration is using, quote, every tool at their disposal to limit the effect on gas prices in the U.S. This is after announcing those sanctions against Russia, which does produce 11% of the world's oil. He did acknowledge it's likely we'll see rising prices at the gas station in coming months. However, here's what he did say, what specific actions he and his administration will take to stabilize those gas prices. Oil hit $100 per barrel yesterday. That's the highest price in 7 years. And I just checked the early commodity markets. It's down about 0.5%. A senior White House official did say the sanctions the administration put in place against Russia were deliberate ones. They were done to impact Russia's economy, not ours. Now, the last time the administration stepped in to help with gas prices, that was in November and December, and that was with the release from some of those strategic reserves. We're still paying for that. It's been high.
Yeah.
And it's going to stay that way for a while.
That's right.
So.
Thank you, Veronica. Minutes after President Biden announced new sanctions on Russia, FBI officials also asked all U.S. businesses and local governments to be on the lookout for potential ransomware attacks. Another possible impact here. Of course, we'll continue to follow the latest on the conflict and the fallout here at home on air and on our website, thedenverchannel.com, and the Denver 7 Plus app.
Neighbors in Westminster have a lot of questions after a home exploded in the middle of the night. This is all that's left. You can see pieces of the home scattered everywhere. We brought this to you as breaking news yesterday morning, and now investigators say possible human remains have been found in that debris. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is live this morning with where this investigation goes from here.
That's right, Brian. It's a sad update to the story. Police say cadaver dogs alerted them to possible human remains from inside of that home. It was after they'd been working out in the cold for nearly 12 hours trying to find out if anyone was in the home at the time of the explosion. While we were out there, the people living right next door to the home that exploded told us that that home had been condemned after a fire there last April. Now, one of many questions, what's done by the city to keep people from going inside of a condemned home? In this security camera video, you see the moments the explosion happened early on Tuesday morning. Those living nearby say it sounded like a bomb went off. Artwork fell off the walls of some homes, even across the street. The 2 homes on either side of the explosion were damaged, along with cars outside. Some neighbors tell us they contacted the city of Westminster, concerned about the safety of the home after seeing someone continue to use it while condemned. We reached out to the city for clarification, but haven't heard back yet. We also know Adams County posted a notice back in 2019, the start of the foreclosure process, and a public auction was set for December of last year, but it didn't happen.
It's a really sad story, but He caught it on fire like 8 months ago, and he's been living in it like ever since, and like trying to stay warm and starting little bonfires and stuff like on the inside.
It's been burned out, boarded up, and it's had a inhospitable sign on the door. But the previous tenants were still, going in and out and living in there.
The cause of the explosion is still under investigation. It could take a couple of weeks to get final answers on that. The Adams County coroner will be releasing the name of the person identified from within the home once their family has been notified. Live in Denver, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you, Colette. New COVID cases among children are dropping for the 4th week in a row. That's despite CDC numbers showing about half of kids 5 and older remain unvaccinated. Last week, 175,000 kids tested positive, but that's a huge drop from the peak level of more than 1 million reported at the end of January. You can now pick up free COVID tests at mass distribution sites across Colorado. You can find a map on the state's website, covid19.colorado.gov/testing. You should check, though, to see if they're in stock before you go. The state will also continue its online test ordering program. The IRS is under fire for using facial recognition software, but its alternative for people worried about the privacy issue could be even more frustrating.
And some happy couples took advantage of 2/22/22. We'll introduce you to the locals who wouldn't let the frigid temperatures disrupt their special day.